Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA episode 292. I am Brendan. UFC 290, Volkanovski versus Rodríguez. This card was a banger, all right? I normally give a review later on about the card. Forget that. I'll just tell you up front, go watch it, okay? This is one where if you missed it, I would even say it's worth buying the pay-per-view to watch it, even if you know the results. The fights were fantastic. It was a great card, fun to watch. Start to finish, fantastic. Go watch it. So we're going to go into all the fights here. We're going to break everything down round by round real quick. If we like that kind of stuff, if you like these things, subscribe to the channel so you know the next video is coming out. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week breaking this stuff down. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the first fight here. If you're looking for a specific fight, the timestamps are down below. Volkanovski taking on Yair Rodríguez for the to unify the belts at featherweight. Now, Yair, obviously, he's a good fighter and blah 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 blah. I don't want to take too much away from him here, but there was no point in this fight that looked like Yair Rodríguez belonged in the title fight with Volkanovski. Not a single thing. He landed one really good shot in a matter. I mean, it's not that he didn't land shots. He did, but there was nothing about the way he was fighting other than hoping that he would land a shot that could rock Volkanovski while staying safe, right? He didn't put himself into the fire, and when he did, he backed out really quick, or he got taken down. So Yair was circling on the outside. Volk was walking him down. Yair was tempting the high question mark kick. It was really fast. He's got snappy kicks, that dude. Volkanovski landed a hard low kick, and then he ended up catching a kick himself. Gets a double leg takedown at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Volk landed some good ground and pound, and then they end up getting back up around minute 30. Back down. Yair tried to roll under, but Volkanovski rode over the top and just unloaded with some decent ground and pound. Yeah, because Yair tried to do a front roll to try and get out of the bottom position. Volkanovski just stayed on top, kept his hips light. And just a great round for him. Striking numbers, not a ton of strikes landed, 11-5 in favor of Volkanovski, but the control time, 3 minutes and 22 seconds. So an easy round for him. Second round here, they exchanged low kicks. Yair was starting to throw a lot more kicks in this round. At the beginning of this round, he was having some really good success. Yair landed some good low kicks, keeping the range. Volk moved in and landed really hard. Yair landed really hard as well. Volkanovski got a double leg takedown. Yair grabbed the fence. He didn't do it to get back up. Anyway, he grabbed the fence and he got warned for it. Volkanovski hit the body lock outside trip for a second time at the 2 minute and 55 second mark and landed some good ground and pound here. Yair was started digging the fingers into the gloves, right? So if you take your fingers inside the wrist of the other person's gloves, you're not allowed to do that. Yair was warned about this again. He had done it more. Volkanovski was on top, landing some decent elbows. Another great round for Volkanovski, 20-18 going into the third round. 18-12 for the striking numbers in favor of Volkanovski. Again, it's not that Yair looked like he was completely out of the fight. It's just nothing about what he was doing looked like he was going to win this. Okay, outside of him landing one big shot during an exchange. And then here in this third round, Yair gets warned pre-round for cheating. He's like, and Herb Dean goes up to him and is like, hey, if you cheat again, essentially he goes, if you cheat again, I'm taking a point. Doesn't matter how you cheat. If you do it, now we're going to draw the line, huh? So Yair starts moving forward, landing some really good kicks. Volkanovski landed a really hard right hand. Nice head kick and a right hand from Yair. So this was his best rounds, by far. Yair was landing he was landing really hard, and then Volkanovski landed a hard right hand, putting Yair on the fence, and then Volkanovski unloads. He gets a double leg, puts him down on the ground, and Yair kind of gives up and curls. It was just this perfect right hook, and then he got the double leg dump. Striking numbers here, I guess, They were probably pretty close up until that point, but 37-23 in favor of Volkanovski. Good God, this guy is fantastic. He really is. I might have been more of a doubter after that first Max Holloway fight, and maybe especially the second one. I thought that second Max Holloway fight was pretty damn close. But, seeing him beat up Brian, like just beat the shit out of Brian Ortega, nearly kill the Korean Zombie, then absolutely dominate Max Holloway in another fight, and then have that fight with Islam Makhachev where, a lot of people were very upset. But I felt like Makhachev did win that fight, but it was really close when he went up a weight class to fight the greatest lightweight of all, whatever. And now just dominating Yair Rodríguez. It's hard to put in perspective when you're in the middle of it how good someone is, because we can look back in time and see, look at how good Jose Aldo was. But I think people need to understand what Volkanovski is doing right now is unbelievable. Even if he loses his very next fight, it doesn't matter. What he has done by utterly dominating like all of his competition, beating the legends that came before him in a dominating fashion, never really being challenged, right? He was caught in a guillotine by Ortega, and I was talking about this with my friend last night. It's not like he was, you could say he was challenged in that moment for about 10 seconds, right? But that's what Ortega does. Ortega gets his ass kicked for 23 minutes, but finds his way ass backwards into a guillotine, squeezes real hard for a couple seconds. It doesn't work, or maybe it does, and then all of a sudden the fight is considered close or scary or whatever. All it did was show how much heart Volkanovski has, and it's another thing to put in like a feather in his cap. The guy, he epitomizes everything that he epitomizes an ideal UFC champion. Respectful. He does the call outs when he needs to. He works hard, shows it every time he gets in the octagon. He gets better every time he's out there. He's professional in every sense of the word. It's really nice to watch a guy like that just go to work every single time he's out there, and it's fantastic. And I'm glad I get to be a fan actively watching him do it in real time. It's really cool, really cool. So, fantastic fight for Volkanovski. I can't wait to see what's next. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if he's going to be fighting, Ilia Topuria. There's some talks about that. I mean, that could be fine, even though. So here's real quick. I'll get away from it in a second. But what I don't like about the Ilia Topuria fight is that Arnold Allen was undefeated and went on a tear. And he loses to Max Holloway, and now he gets bumped back down. Rightfully so. He loses to Max Holloway. You can't go up. But Ilia Topuria somehow gets to jump Arnold Allen, Brian Ortega, and Max Holloway, and Yair, and go right to Volkanovski. Why? See, this is the thing that timing makes, careers. If Topuria gets up there and, somehow manages to win, all of a sudden we're talking about him being one of the greatest and blah, 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 blah. And all this because, maybe he doesn't match up with Ortega. Maybe he doesn't match up with Holloway. So I'd be more interested in Volkanovski taking on, because I have seen him take on everybody in that division now and outside of Arnold Allen. And I'd be okay with him taking on like Aljamain Sterling coming up or something like that. I think that would be fun. Great fight though. Fun to watch. All right, we got another title fight to break down here. Brandon Moreno taking on Alexandre Pantoja. Lots of stuff. A lot of stuff here. Okay. Pantoja gets the win, a split decision win. We'll talk about the scorecards at the end. I know this video might run a little bit longer. Maybe. Yeah, this video might run a little bit longer, probably closer to the 20-minute mark. So Pantoja was right in his face, and then Moreno going for the clinch and the body lock. Moreno landing the double jab, and then the straight. Beautiful striking from Moreno in this fight. Pantoja landed the left hand, and Moreno went down for a second in this first round. Pantoja landed a big elbow, busting Moreno open. Huge left hand from Pantoja, walking through Moreno shots, and Moreno's already bleeding from the nose and cut. 10-9 Pantoja. Absolutely. No question here. I don't think there's a way that you can talk anybody into believing that Moreno won this round. 28-22 for the striking numbers. He got a knockdown in this round. He absolutely dominated Pantoja Pantoja definitely wins this round. 10-9. Second round here, they exchange in the middle of the cage. Pantoja just hits harder most of the time, right? Every time they're both landing, Pantoja just seems to land more. Moreno landing a jab at will, landing the hard right hand. Pantoja is more stationary, and Moreno takes his back, gets him down at the 305 mark. Huge left hooks from Moreno. Big round from Moreno, landing so much more damage. So if you look at the striking numbers here, 41-33 in favor of Moreno. Like many of the rounds, he did come out ahead, but this was the one of the more dominant rounds. 8 strike differential, but also that control time here. Minute and 23 seconds of control time. Obviously, this was Moreno's round. No question. And also, Pantoja looked tired. So I had it 19-19 going into the third. Pantoja looked tired. I thought that it was going to be over. I thought Moreno's cardio was going to carry him through, and Pantoja wasn't going to be able to do it. Then Pantoja starts walking his way through punches. Gets to the back, gets the takedown with the body lock. They get back up with 3 minutes left. Pantoja still landing hard hooks. Moreno keeping up the output, but Pantoja just hits so hard. And then he gets the body lock, gets the takedown in a minute 30. Moreno right back up, and now he's on top, and Pantoja lands the damage from his back. So, Moreno happened to be in a better position, but he wasn't landing damage. In fact, Pantoja was actually landing good strikes from his back, right? Normally, I don't emphasize those strikes because they don't mean much, but he was landing them with some emphasis, and Moreno was really just kind of scrambling around on top trying to get any sort of control. That's not good control time to me. Moreno right back up, and now he and then Pantoja won this round with the back control and doing enough on the feet. Looking at the striking numbers here, 26-23. Now, on the face of it, you could say, Moreno won the striking differential by 3 strikes. That's not the case. Pantoja was hitting harder all fight, and I feel like the strikes he landed did more damage. Now, if you don't agree with that, that's fine, but also look at the control time here. 2 minutes of control time in this round for Pantoja. So I could say, I could be convinced that the damage was even. I don't think I could be convinced that Moreno did so much damage in this round that he absolutely won it. But if you thought Moreno did enough damage, maybe I could lean, you could lean that way. I don't see it. That being said, Pantoja, in my opinion, clearly won this round with the control time being the big differentiator. Okay. Damage could be a wash, but I had him up there as well. Going into the fourth round, this is where it gets more interesting. Now, Pantoja is going for it. He's the one pressuring, landing hooks, and Moreno's retreating. But he lands when he's retreating. It's just it doesn't have the same kind of pop on it. Pantoja got another takedown at 345. Pantoja was doing a good job staying on top. Gets the back for a second as they stand up. Moreno reverses position at the 42nd mark, but he doesn't do anything with it. Pantoja on the takedown still. I gotta give it to him. In my opinion, I don't think Moreno did enough. Now, if you look at the striking numbers here, this is one of the bigger differentials. So this is actually the largest. 11 strikes separate Moreno and Pantoja. 31-20 in favor of Moreno. I don't feel like a lot of those were jabs, and they were great jabs, but that kind of damage is not fight ending. Pantoja had over 3 minutes of control time, a lot of it on the back. He landed some good strikes on the ground. He did a lot of damage of his own this round. I lean towards Pantoja. Now, looking at the numbers and knowing what I know now, I could probably see this round going to Moreno. You could say that the damage was in his favor in this round, and maybe I overly emphasized the control time on the ground. Fine. So you could give it to Moreno and have it 19-19. 38-38, but I had it 39-37 for Pantoja. Last round here, nice left hand landing from Pantoja. I thought Pantoja was good, so he could just coast, but Moreno and Moreno's cardio, I thought it was going to carry him through. I thought just like from the second round, it was going to carry him through. It just didn't. Pantoja just kept working. This was a lot of heart from him. Pantoja's jab started landing in this round. His left hook was landing hard. Moreno landing his jab and landing a hard jab landing a hard jab behind it. So he would touch and then land a hard jab right behind it. Pantoja gets a takedown at 215. He gets a back body lock and they stand up and he's a backpack for the rest of the round. 27-25 for striking numbers in favor of Moreno. That is not enough of a differential. He did not do enough damage with those shots to outdo the amount of time that Pantoja had on his back at 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Pantoja won this. It's the right call. Now it's a split decision, so let's look at it. So let's get into this. All right. First round here. So Ben Cartlidge, this scorecard that Ben Cartlidge has out here is unacceptable for me for a few reasons. We'll get into it. Let's look at Junichiro Kamijo and Derek Clearly. They got it. They didn't necessarily agree with my scorecard, but this makes sense to me. Pantoja won number 1. Moreno won number 2. Clear as day. Easy peasy. Pantoja clearly won number 3. Moreno won number 4. Okay, acceptable. There's nothing wrong with this. And then they both give Pantoja the last round. Absolutely. Ben Cartlidge's card makes no sense. The striking numbers were virtually even in the fifth for a couple of reasons. One, round 3. Round 3, striking differential of 3 strikes, and Pantoja had 2 minutes of control time in that round. Same thing as the last round. I don't know what Ben Cartlidge was looking for. The damage was not in favor of Moreno in those rounds, and even if you wanted to slightly give him the damage, there's no way that little bit of damage that he did outdid the possibility of Pantoja finishing the fight from the back control, being in that dominant of a position for the entire time. And I know that that's what you have to go to, right? Because damage is key. Damage is number 1, but when damage is even or so close that you can't really distinguish between who did more damage, because let's be honest, we're not out there with a scale measuring punch power, and we're also, it's subjective, because if someone, we'll talk about that in when we talk about the Dan Hooker fight, if someone gets kicked in the head or hit in the head hard, but they don't react to it, yeah, he did a lot of damage, but it had very little effect. What if the other person jabs the guy and the guy gets knocked down and stumbles from it, even though the jab had less power on it? It's not just the power from the punch itself or from the kick itself. It's how it affects the fight, how it affects the fighter, and how close are you to finishing the fight from that technique that you just landed. Right? And I don't feel like Moreno did anything in round 3 and 5 other than that he didn't do it in the other rounds, but just with a less volume differential, right? Round 2, round 4, and round 2 and round 4, his volume was higher. The volume differential was higher. 8 strikes and then 11 strike differential. And, he had some control time. He wasn't controlled as much in those rounds. So that's an easy call. When your striking differential is a matter of 2 strikes or 3 strikes, and the power is not in your favor, the power went to Pantoja. Who's doing more damage? Probably Pantoja. But you could call it even, and now it goes to control time, and that's clearly what Pantoja did. He had the control time. I'm just happy they gave it to the right person, right? I love Brandon Moreno, and I was rooting for him in this fight. He did not win this fight. He didn't. It was a close fight. It was competitive, but Pantoja dug deep and kept up with him. The thing is, Moreno's cardio is a weapon, especially late in fights, and Pantoja just put up with it. He just worked hard, and continued to drive. He dug deep. And it's not that Moreno wasn't digging deep. He was. It's just when Pantoja did it, Pantoja has more power in his punches, and he has the better grappling abilities. So when he's digging deep, he's able to get that good control time and get close to a finish. Fantastic. Now, what does this mean, though, for who's fighting next? Oh, boy. This is a mess. Amir Albazi is a possibility. There might be some hype behind that. Brandon Royval's unlikely. But he did just beat Mateus Nickal, and he could get that rematch against Pantoja, so there's some name, familiarity there that could work in his favor, could work against him. Kaikara France is, it's a possibility. He's probably going to need one more win. Nickal is going to need at least one more win again. And then the rest of these guys, they're way out. Now, Pantoja versus Figueiredo, that could be fun if Figueiredo still wants to fight in this division, but we'll see. This does shake it up quite a bit, and I'm happy for Pantoja, man. He worked really freaking hard to get this one. All right, let's move on to something that makes me sad. Robert Whittaker versus Dricus du Plessis. Dricus got it done. Really, fight started out really low stance from Dricus. Low kicks are the thing from both guys. Both landing low kicks here. Whittaker's darting in and out, landing hard jabs and a lead left hook really fast. Whittaker with the takedown at the 3-minute mark. Du Plessis with the headlock takedown, landing an elbow, cutting Whittaker. It's just the first round was Dricus' round. It's the way it ended. Look at the striking numbers. He was on top, 29-22. He had the control. He had the control time, 55 seconds at the end of that round. I mean, this was his round. And then the second round here, Whittaker was using the stiff jab to counter as du Plessis entered. And then Whittaker got dropped for a second with a right hand. It was right on the bridge of the nose. Dricus gets the finish with the volume. Du Plessis looked good in this fight, okay? I don't believe this. The whole thing, if you guys are not familiar, his camp came out and said that he was only receiving about 8% oxygen from his... That's impossible. It's impossible. You'd be dead. I think there was some sort of miscommunication or misunderstanding about what was actually going on. I think I was telling my friend this, I shout out to Sam. I think that what they meant, or what the doctor told them, that that Dricus's nose was blocked up, like he had a 92% blockage, so he was only receiving about 8% of the possible volume of air through his nose. Doesn't mean he couldn't breathe. Obviously, you can use your mouth. Your nose doesn't do all your breathing for you. That makes no sense. So that makes sense to me. Like, that's a possibility. So maybe that had an effect on this. I mean, he always seems like he's able to keep working even when he is tired. So it's not that he doesn't have output. He does. And it's clear. You know what's going to happen now. He's getting the title shot versus the champ, Israel Adesanya. A real quick side note before we move on to the next fight here. I hate these in-fight things. I know Dana White said they weren't going to do it anymore. He keeps saying that, but they really got to stop this. It's so cringy. It's so gross. A lot of these guys they don't have what it takes to be good on the mic in improvisation like that. You've got freaking Adesanya walks in there, and then he starts yelling the N-word at him, and he's like, this is mine. And I'm like, oh, come on, man. Like, you guys look stupid. Both guys do. And it's not even du Plessis' fault. And I would argue that it's not Adesanya's fault. I mean, it's his fault because he's an adult and he's responsible for his own actions, but he shouldn't have been allowed to go in there, right? He should have been yelling from outside the cage. They can talk shit all they want, and then afterwards they can post about it on social media and then do the build-up proper. But good God. This build-up is going to be probably pretty ugly. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of racist things said from both fan bases. It's unfortunate that that's the way the world is, but South Africa has a tumultuous history with race relations, and it's not a fucking secret. I mean, apartheid was a big deal even when I was younger. There was, it was still something that was talked about. It's still not great in South Africa. Race relations aren't good there, and the fact that Dricus says that he's a true African doesn't sit well with a lot of people because his ancestors or his recent ancestors aren't from Africa, right? So because he's white, that's the end of it. So, and I get that, that doesn't sit well with people because he's the descendant of people who moved back to Africa. Great. From his point of view, he didn't choose where to be born. I don't know him personally. I don't know if he's a good guy or not. He seems relatively professional when he's talking. So it's hard for me to, And I don't follow him. Like I said, I'm not friends with the guy. I don't know the dude. But put it this way. If you're born in a place, you have no control over that. If you're raised in a place, you have virtually no control over that. You might have a little as a kid. You might have a little sway with your parents, but let's be real. You don't have a choice in where you're going to live and grow up. And then when you're an adult, you do have a choice, and he chose to stay there. And now in his professional career, he also chose to stay and train there. So he's born, raised, and chooses to stay in Africa. And now South Africa has the means to support a proper professional athlete, whereas a lot of these other African fighters coming from less than advantageous childhoods or less than advantageous positions, which is not Adesanya, by the way, guys. Like, it's not that Adesanya isn't African. He absolutely is. It's that his family was, like, wealthy. I don't even think they were upper middle class. I think they were wealthy in Nigeria before they moved to New Zealand. So it's not like he grew up in squalor and built himself up from the bottom. Like, yeah, in the grand scheme of things in the world, coming from a less than wealthy country, but his circumstances did not fit. They don't fit that narrative, right? You know, Francis Ngannou, on the other hand, another guy who comes from Africa, Cameroon, working in sand mines, digging sand all day. Dude, that's, working from the bottom, working his way up, trying to find his way into boxing in France, and then goes into MMA and then becomes an international star. That's like the African success story that Adesanya doesn't play into, but he alludes to. And then the same, Kamaru Usman, he wasn't raised in Africa. And again, that's not his choice, but he's here. He went to college here. Like, he's an American citizen. The guy is American. Right? Now, his dad's African. Absolutely. He's of African descent. Absolutely. But he doesn't train there. And again, I'm not saying that they have to train there. But I'm not going to fault Dricus for being proud of where he's from. It doesn't mean, I don't know if he supports the shit that the government has done or that all the people have done in the past. If he does, fuck him. That's horrible. But what if he denounces it? Would that make you happy? No, it wouldn't, because you'd find something else to be mad. If you're mad at this, you're going to be mad at anything. You're going to be mad no matter what he says. So from what he said, I'm just going to take it at face value until, I'm going to take him at his word until proven otherwise. He's proud to be African. He's proud to be born in Africa. He's proud to stay in Africa and work there and bring the title back to Africa. That's what he wants. Okay? Adesanya, what does he say? He's proud to be African. Absolutely. He's a little bit of a sellout when it comes to, like, wherever, but he's also a nerd. He's fun, and I love Adesanya. I love his fight style. I love his antics. I do like most of his talk. I was not a fan of this cringy shit. So if you want to go in there hating Duplessis, go for it. You want to go in there hating Adesanya, go for it. I don't care. I don't give a shit. It's you. You think what you want to think. If that makes you feel better, or you think that makes you feel better, or if it makes it more fun for you. Maybe it's just fun. Maybe it's just fun to hate somebody and want to see someone lose. I've been there. Don't get it twisted. I've talked about it before. There's a fighter in the PFL. I just want to see him get knocked out. Yeah. I got nothing against the guy personally. I just want to see him get knocked out. So, I'm right there with you when it comes to certain stuff, but let's keep it, civilized isn't the right word. It's just like, let's try to keep it above board, As an MMA fan, as just a human being, if they want to talk shit to each other and do these things, awesome. But unless one of them says something specifically about anything, unless one of them does something specifically offensive or tragic or reprehensible, why don't we just keep it what it is, which is fight talk? They're bullshitting. They want to build up the fight, and maybe they really don't like each other, but that's what they're doing. They're selling the fight right now. So let's keep it that. Let's not get into religion and other shit. We don't need that again. All right, that's my piece. All right, let's talk about another banger. Jalin Turner taking on Dan Hooker. Boy, I felt bad for Dan Hooker in this one. Then I didn't. A nice low kick from Hooker as he was retreating. They exchanged kicks at distance, with Turner landing the better ones, going to the body and the legs. Lots of kicks, guys. Lots of kicks. Yeah, here. Do we have kicked? Hold on here. 14, 13. So many kicks. Anyway, Turner landed a hard right hand and a left to counter when Hooker moved in. Turner landed the best shots in this first round, especially with those kicks, 10-9 in my opinion. I did not think Hooker outlanded him this round. Boy, I was wrong. He outlanded him 38-34. It's not what I saw when I watched it live. I thought Turner outlanded him. I thought Turner did more damage. Gave that first round to Turner. Second round here. Hooker was doing a good job with the low kicks, entering in better in this round with some really good straights. Turner's landed hard low kicks and a hard left hand. A huge high kick from Turner right on the jaw of Hooker. And Hooker he didn't just eat it, but he stayed up, barely retreated. He starts pressuring forward, and then he lands. When he lands, they weren't having the same force on Turner. And then a left hand from Hooker rocks Turner. And then he follows up and nearly finishes Turner in this round by locking up a rear naked choke. And Turner's eye is going big right at the end of the round. Great round for Hooker, 44-34. After taking that big kick. So I mentioned this earlier. If you didn't watch that the breakdown of the couple fights ago, I mentioned this earlier. Just because a shot was thrown with more force doesn't mean that the damage from it, right? Or its fight impact is what damage means. Because it's about a means to an end, right? It's about how close are you to ending the fight. That's why 100 jabs aren't worth as much as a giant left hook that drops someone, right? Because one of those is closer to finishing the fight. It doesn't mean that those 100 jabs are pointless. They're not. It's just when you have to score them versus each other, it's the one that's closer to finishing the fight. Dan Hooker was closer to finishing the fight in this round, and he had done more. He landed plenty to keep up with Turner. It's not like he landed one big punch and Turner was tuning him up the entire time. That's not what happened here. So I gave this round to Hooker. I had it 19-19. Third round here. Hooker right in his face. Hooker landed another left hand. Turner pressuring now, landing hard jabs, kicks to the body. Turner's sitting along the fence, really tired, goes to the takedown. Hooker gets right back up. Hooker's just breaking him, walking him down. Hooker gets on top. Both guys looking kind of tired, and then Hooker stays on top for pretty much the rest of the round. Easy win for him in this round, 43-32 for striking numbers, 2 minutes and 53 seconds of control time. Clearly his round. But we have a dissenting scorecard. Take a guess who it's from. Here, so if I just show you these, right? Adelaide Bird, Derek Clearly, and Ron McCarthy. Not a great lineup, to be honest with you. Derek Clearly's been on my shit list for a while. But Derek Clearly and Ron McCarthy, clearly they get this one right. Round 2 and 3 go to Hooker. Correct. Round 1 to Turner. Absolutely. Adelaide Bird gave the third round to Jalin Turner. How? How do you give this to Jalin Turner? He was on his back for a majority of more than half the round, 2 minutes and 53 seconds. Took 85 total strikes. Right? Was outstruck 43-32. Was not close to finishing the fight. Did not land a big shot on Hooker that almost ended the fight. I mean, he landed some decent shots in this round, but Hooker did too. Hooker nearly finished him and then got him on the ground. Bad scorecard. I'm glad it didn't affect the things. Good for Dan Hooker. He's got back-to-back wins now over Claudio Puelles and Jalin Turner after coming off of kind of a rough go of it. You know what I mean? He was on those virtual win streak outside of losing to Edson Barbosa. Ross Pearson, Mark Diakese, Jim Miller, Gilbert Burns, and he loses to Barbosa. Win over James Vick, Al Iaquinta, Paul Felder, split decision. I thought he lost that one, but it's a win on his record regardless. Close fight. Then he loses that banger of a fight to Poirier. Banger of a fight to Poirier. gets destroyed by Michael Chandler. Has a win against Nasrat Haqparast, then loses to Islam Makhachev when Makhachev was, I think that was relatively short notice on his way up to the title. And then he just got dominated by Arnold Allen when he tried to fight down a weight class. So, it's kind of rough, and then he comes back up, gets not a get well fight, but Claudio Puelles isn't exactly a title contender, and now against Jalin Turner, a guy on the come up, who missed fucking weight, by the way, by 2 pounds. So he's just a fucking size bully anyway. Great fight for Dan Hooker. Happy for him. Congratulations. That's awesome. Let's talk about this first fight on the card real quick, and then we will wrap things up. Bo Nickal taking on Val Woodburn. So Val Woodburn he does gravel or landscaping, I think it was. Landscaping. He looked like it. A strong guy. It's a strong guy. He looks like he hits pretty fucking hard. But there's a big left hand that landed from Woodburn at one point. He landed 2 shots this entire fight. Then Nickal lands a huge right hook, then moves out. Darts in, lands another one of those. A hook, an uppercut, a hook, and it's over with. That's not how I saw that going. I thought Bo Nickal was going to go in there, wrestle him to the ground, and get like a rear naked choke finish or something, or smother him down there and get a TKO. I did not see him knocking him out on the feet, but he gets it. It's interesting that Bo Nickal's getting the main card spot, but hey, he's on the come up, and good for him. So, all right, that is it for the card. I know this was a longer one, but we had 2 title fights to break down and a lot to talk about. So I appreciate y'all for making it this far. If you did, please subscribe to the channel, because if you made it this far, you will like most of the stuff that I do, and this way you'll know when my videos come out. If you made it this far, also hit the like button, because you had to like something you saw in here if you made it this far. So I appreciate you for that. And then if you're looking for the prelims, that'll be in the next video. So if you're not interested in stuff and this is the only video you watch this week, that's okay. I love you anyway. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing week. Love you.